Further, we must always be quick to realize that the world is run on self-interest as we formulate our laws. Each one of us sitting here silently reflects on the question of what is in it for me when you are engaged in whatever vocation or activity you find yourself in. It is the desire for self-preservation. It is natural. It is also the desire for self-enhancement. These drive our actions. Situate this in the craft of statehood. Often, the interests of the populace get lost in translation and are sacrificed, as opposed to the interests of the main actors whose opinions and actions dramatically shape the course of the state, whether for beauty or for debasement. There is always this old subtle trick in statehood. The main actors make believe that the good of the populace is so dear to them. They are always quick to tell and remind the populace that they have their best interests at heart. For the most part, this trick works, especially when the population is indoctrinated enough. Chinua Achebe summed this up so well in A Man of the People, a novel which he really captured happenings in society. Professor, I will attempt to illustrate my point with the biblical trial and execution of Jesus. Do not get me wrong. I am not trying to preach. I am the least qualified to. But 4 characters deserve mention as I bring things down. First, Judas. He has been vilified enough in history, and his name has gone down in infamy. Indeed, his name is a synonym for traitor. Maybe he deserved it. However, I see things differently. His actions tell me a very different story from what the Gospels portray him to be. I do not think he set out to betray Jesus at all. To me, he was just a con artist who set out to defraud the high priest and cash in a handsome amount. The man had been with Jesus for a considerable time, and he witnessed the spectacular miracles recounted in the Bible. He probably never at any moment thought that Jesus was amenable to capture. It was more probable than not that he thought Jesus would vanish and escape any attempt to capture him. Think about it this way. After all, Jesus had previously inexplicably escaped the throng of people who were desirous of throwing him over a cliff. He simply walked through and away from them, the Bible recounts. Therefore, in the estimation of Judas, Jesus would escape again, and he will get to keep his small fee just for revealing Jesus' whereabouts to the authorities. Just that, I will do. So his interest was very simple: getting paid, not betrayal. Next, the high priest. All in the context of statehood. Their interest was clear enough. Jesus was bad for their business. They were losing their audience to this upstart who was pulling crowds and claiming to be the Son of God. They feared that it was only a matter of time their synagogues will be emptied of the faithful and they will lose their perch as the very respected and influential spiritual leaders. So, better to contrive charges against him and have him taken away from the scene permanently. Now, let us call up Pilate. He was the governor of the Roman province of Judea at the time. The Gospels appear to portray him as a reluctant judge who pronounced the death sentence on Jesus. However, for a man whose contemporaries described him as prone to unnecessary violence and brutality, his dramatic public washing of his hands to signify a lack of responsibility for the killing of Jesus belied his real interest. It was simple. He was saving his own skin and ingratiating himself to his boss, Tiberius Caesar. This is because Judea was extremely volatile at the time and characterized by violent protests and unrest. Pilate's high handling of affairs had not gone unnoticed in Rome. Therefore, The Jesus trial and execution provided him with a wonderful opportunity to appease the people, 1, and their leaders, 2, and not to attract unpleasant sanctions from Rome, 3. That is all it meant for him. Finally, the people, still in the context of statehood. What was their interest? Those who were screaming, crucify him, crucify him. It appears difficult to apprehend even to this day. Yet, they were still screaming and calling for the execution of the man and for the freeing of an accomplished criminal on top. In the scheme of affairs, consider it this way. Judas satisfied his interest, albeit with unintended disastrous consequences as his con game went seriously awry. Next, the interest of the high priest was very served. Jesus was permanently taken off the scene, and they regained their influence and respect among the people. Pilate also served his interest very well. Tiberius Caesar left him to his designs for a while.